Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 26.6.1 to the public. iOS 26.6.1 is available around the world at the same time for everyone on all iOS 26 supported devices. If you're not seeing the update or you want to install it, go to your settings, go to General, and then Software Update. If you're still not seeing it, pull down to refresh or go back out, go back into Software Update, and you should see it here. However, if you're running iOS 27 betas, you won't see the update as you're on a newer version. The only way to install iOS 26.6.1 would be to downgrade using a computer. Also, if you're on iOS 26.6.1 RC, turn off your beta updates, refresh, and you should see the install. As far as the overall size, this wasn't too big. It came in at 704.6 megabytes on the iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max, and this was released alongside many other updates. iPadOS 26.6.1, macOS 26.6.2, iOS 18.7.10, iPadOS 18.7.10, and iOS 27 Beta 5 updates, along with macOS 26.7 RC as well. Now this update has bug fixes and more, so if you want to jump to any specific part of the video, be sure to check out the chapters in the description. Now let's take a look at the build number and talk about what's new. So if we go into our settings, software update, and more details, we'll tap on iOS. As you can see, the build number is 23G83, and this particular build is new if you were running the iOS 26.6.1 RC beta, so just keep that in mind. You'll have that update as I mentioned before. Now there is no modem update in this particular update, so you won't see any differences there, but as far as things they've resolved or fixed, if we take a look at shortcuts, it seems that they've fixed the issue with automations. Many people have confirmed that they were having this issue, and it seems to be resolved with this update. However, Apple does not specifically say that they've resolved it, but let me know if it's fixed for you, as many people on the RC version over the weekend we talked about this, where it seems like they've resolved this issue. As far as any other bug fixes, well, Apple did post that it was released. You can see it here, but if we go to the release notes, it still says iOS 26.6. So it looks like there's no additional updates that at least that they're letting us know about. As far as anything else, you may have already noticed that when I showed the size of the update, it says this update provides security fixes for your iPhone. So as far as any specific updates there, let's take a look at Apple's security website. And if we take a look at Apple's security release website and scroll down, you'll see the latest release here with iOS 26.6.1 and all the others that I mentioned before. If we go into this, we'll see quite a few security fixes. So if we scroll down here, you'll see we have fixes for audio, image I/O. If we keep scrolling, there's quite a few, everything from kernel to WebKit, the underlying code for Safari. For example, it says the impact was processing maliciously crafted web content may lead to an unexpected Safari crash. To resolve this, the description was an out-of-bounds access issue was addressed with improved bounds checking. And then they have the CVE number and those that actually submitted that there was a bug. So you'll see there's quite a few bug fixes here and updates, not tons compared to some previous updates like iOS 26.6, but more than we expected based on previous releases with macOS 26.6.1. So lots of things that have been updated here. As far as any other updates, I don't expect any enterprise updates, as those are typically only for the major releases with iOS 26.6 and not the 0.1 updates, so I would not expect anything here. Other updates though include Apple Sports, so Apple did update that today. And you'll see here there's an update for Apple Sports, bringing it to version 4.3, and it says the soccer lineup continues to grow, and you can see what they've added here. So again, for soccer, they continue to grow this, and hopefully we see even more updates throughout around the world. Now, as far as anything else, as far as releases, well, we already just had iOS 27 Beta 6 today, but as far as the public release, let's take a look at the calendar here. In the public release, we can expect in a few weeks. However, next week, I would expect iOS 27 Beta 7, then maybe we'll move on to the RC. It's possible we could have a Beta 8. We've even had a Beta 9 before, but given that we only have a few weeks left until when we typically see it released to the public, I would expect maybe Beta 7 next Monday or so, with maybe an RC the following week on the 31st. Also next week, we should see invites go out for the next Apple event if Apple is consistent throughout the years with when they're actually inviting people for that. So again, of course, if we get those invites, I'll let you know and talk about what to expect there. Now, if you're wondering if you should install iOS 26.6.1, if you're on any previous version of iOS 26, absolutely install it for the security updates we covered. However, the overall experience and everything else seems to be okay. I don't think it's going to be perfect until we get to iOS 27, but many people are saying it's extremely smooth. Going into the app library and scrolling, ProMotion seems to be nice and smooth. If we go into maybe music for the first time here since opening it up. I did get a splash screen about auto mix there, but let's give it a second. Let's try another app. There was a little bit of stutter there you may have just seen, but if we go in here, we'll go back and forth out of music and podcasts. You'll see it is okay. It seems to perform well, and RAM management was decent this time around as well. So we should see major improvements, and this could be the last one until iOS 27. However, we do have a macOS 26.7, so maybe we'll see that as well with iOS 26.7. As far as the overall heat, well, when it comes to the heat, it is a little bit warm. It just installed, so it's probably indexing. I have it on both of these devices, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. We'll take a look at benchmarks as well and see what we get with Geekbench 7. When it comes to iOS 26.6.1 on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, we're seeing around 30.5 degrees up to 31 degrees Celsius. It was 35 degrees Celsius with the RC version this past weekend, so we're seeing an improvement here even though we're running a benchmark test. So I think that's pretty great. Let's go ahead and wait for this to complete, and then we'll take a look at it. Benchmarks completed, and we have 3,250 for single core, 8,721 for multi-core. Compared to what we had before this past weekend, we're a little bit lower as far as the multi-core score, but higher with single core. So this is great news where it's actually a little bit better and it just installed. Considering that it's still indexing in the background, it's pretty great overall. When it comes to battery life, if we take a look at settings here, I've been using iOS 27 typically full time, but if we take a look at battery health, you'll see I'm at 100% with 26 cycles on this particular device. But if we take a look at someone else that's been using it full time, thanks to Cameron for sending this in. This is on an iPhone 17 Pro Max running iOS 26.6.1. He had 2 hours and 48 minutes of screen active time, 1 hour and 41 minutes of screen idle time using only 30% of the battery. Typically, most people are saying that battery life on iOS 26.6.1 has been pretty great, and of course we'll talk more about that after we've run it for a few days this following weekend with the weekend follow-up video. As far as bugs and bug fixes, other than what I already mentioned, Apple CarPlay hopefully will be improved at this point. Many people were having disconnects, but again, sometimes it works initially and then gets worse over time. So again, we'll talk about this in the weekend follow-up video. Unfortunately, it seems the wallpaper dimming bug is back. If I scroll down here, you'll see how vibrant this is. Swipe home and it desaturates in here. So it looks like it's not resolved. It was in iOS 26.6 for me, and it's still going on in iOS 27. So hopefully Apple resolves this very soon. When it comes to overall storage, let's go ahead and take a look. If we go to General, then iPhone Storage, and if we scroll to the bottom here, you'll see iOS 26.6.1 is taking up 22.15 gigabytes. That's on the iPhone 17 Pro Max compared to 33.67. So you'll see that here, 14.44 for iOS, 16.04 for iOS on 27. So that's a little bit more. That's what we expect. But of course, Apple Intelligence is taking up a lot more on iOS 27. So overall, the storage is what you would expect. System data is quite low as well, but I would expect this to go up and down as needed, and sometimes it can go up to 60 gigabytes and then come back down. So overall, it seems to be pretty good. So that's everything with iOS 26.6.1. This could be the final release of iOS 26 before we get iOS 27, but we'll have to wait and see if Apple does push out an iOS 26.7 or something along those lines. Let me know your experience in the comments below, and of course I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.